Let me get this out of the way first. I'm not the perfect husband, but I wasn't the villain in this story either. That role was already taken by the guy who pulled me over on I-95 2 months ago with a smug smile and my wife's perfume still clinging to his uniform. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name's Matt. I'm 34, live in Florida, and I've been married to my wife Hannah for 8 years. We have no kids, but we do have a German Shepherd named Moose who likes everyone except for cops. A detail that turned out to be way more relevant than I ever expected. For the first 6 years, things were solid, normal couple stuff, bills, birthdays, bad TV. But around year 7, things got weird. She started working out more, switched her hair, started sleeping with her phone literally under her pillow. She said she was just finally investing in herself. I didn't question it, until one night she came home way too late from girls' night. I asked where she was. She said something about getting a flat tire, but the tires were fine, and she smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. I'm not stupid. I didn't confront her right away. I needed proof, so I played it cool, started keeping track of things. That's when I noticed the black Dodge Charger parked across from our house twice a week. Always the same time. Always the same guy sitting inside. I approached it once. The guy was in uniform, sheriff's department. He rolled down the window and gave me the most punchable smirk I've ever seen. "You good, sir?" he asked. I nodded, just making sure everything's all right. He smirked again. "Always, partner." 2 days later, he pulled me over for failing to signal. Gave me a $168 ticket. Didn't say a word about our little chat. I knew something was up. I just didn't expect to find out that the guy banging my wife wore a badge and had been using his cruiser to visit her while I was at work. So I did what any sane man would do when he realizes he's been made the fool by his wife and the law. I started planning. I knew I couldn't confront Hannah without her turning it around on me. She's sharp, the kind of woman who could lie to a priest and get thanked for the confession. So instead of screaming or throwing a fit, I went silent, cold. I started gathering what I needed because I knew this was no longer about saving the marriage. It was about ending it on my terms. And yeah, I was angry, furious, but I wasn't going to let that emotion ruin the precision of what I was planning. Step 1 was figuring out who the hell Officer Smugface was. Turns out his name was Deputy Marcus Riley, single, 37, and very active in community engagement, according to the sheriff's website. I cross-checked public records, saw he had a couple complaints that mysteriously disappeared. Interesting, so I started doing something I swore I'd never do, snooping through Hannah's phone when she slept. That night, she passed out with a glass of wine next to her and her phone on the nightstand. A rookie mistake for someone having an affair. She used the same password she had on her iPad. I unlocked it and scrolled, and boom, there it was. "Can't wait to see you again, Thursday, same time." Wear that thing I like. Heart emojis, shirtless selfies, and in one picture, his goddamn patrol car, parked outside my house, with my wife sitting on the hood. I didn't even feel my heartbeat. I just calmly took screenshots, airdropped them to my laptop, then erased all traces. Step 2, make sure he felt exposed. And that meant putting myself in a position where he couldn't just avoid me, so I tailed him. Not close, not obvious. But I knew his patrol route now. I knew his timing. One afternoon, I drove a little fast, 15 over, passed him slow enough for him to see me. He pulled me over in under 2 minutes. "Afternoon, sir," he said. Same stupid smugness. "You in a hurry?" I smiled. "Yeah, my wife's meeting a friend soon." His face twitched, just a little. I knew I hit a nerve. "You know, Marcus," I said casually, "your taillight's out." He blinked. Ironic, right? A cop with a broken taillight. You'd think a guy who sleeps with married women would be more careful. Dead silence. Then he leaned closer. "Watch yourself," he said, low. "I am," I replied, "every second." He gave me another ticket, speeding this time, but that wasn't the point. I wanted a paper trail, wanted it to look like we had friction, because what I was gonna do next had to look natural. So that weekend, I did something reckless. I drove past his parked cruiser, outside my own house, and threw a cup of coffee on his windshield. He stepped out. I was waiting. We yelled. He shoved me. And right there, I let myself snap. We fought. Fists, gravel, neighbors watching. And guess what? He arrested me. Ever been handcuffed in front of your own house by the guy who's been sneaking into your bedroom while you're at work? It's humiliating, but it was calculated. As Marcus slammed me onto the hood of his cruiser, I caught a glimpse of Hannah through the front window. She had the audacity to look shocked, like she hadn't invited this into our lives. Neighbors had their phones out, cameras rolling. I didn't resist, didn't even yell. I wanted this clean, obvious, and public. I spent the night in holding, one count of assaulting an officer, even though he shoved me first. But I wasn't worried. See, while I was in that concrete box eating a bologna sandwich that tasted like regret, my laptop was doing work. Before I left the house, I scheduled a timed email sent to multiple people: the local precinct's internal affairs unit, the sheriff's department, a local news tip line, and, just to twist the knife, Hannah's boss at the architecture firm where she worked. The email included screenshots of their explicit texts, photos of my wife on the hood of his squad car, metadata from those photos proving location and time, a timeline of his patrol routes, video from my doorbell cam showing him entering our home while I was at work. I even attached GPS data from my wife's own phone backups, synced to our cloud. She never turned that off. I labeled the email subject, official complaint, Deputy Marcus Riley, abuse of power and inappropriate conduct. When I got released the next morning, Hannah was waiting outside the station, arms crossed, fake tears in her eyes. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she hissed. "You assaulted a cop?" I walked right past her. She grabbed my arm. "You embarrassed me. The neighbors saw." I stopped cold, turned slowly. "Oh, I embarrassed you? Not the part where you were fucking a cop in our house while I was working overtime?" Her face dropped, completely pale, because in that moment she knew. "You think I didn't know?" I said. "I let him arrest me, and now Internal Affairs has everything. I hope he was worth it." She opened her mouth, nothing came out. That night, I posted my mugshot to my own Facebook account with a caption: "Got arrested by the man sleeping with my wife. Justice is coming, one punch at a time." It went viral, fast, and a week later, Internal Affairs knocked on his door. Internal Affairs moved fast, faster than I expected, honestly. I guess when a complaint comes in with hard evidence, timestamps, synced GPS, and a very public mugshot attached to a viral post, people start covering their asses real quick. 3 days after my release, Deputy Marcus Riley was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. I watched it unfold on the local news while eating cereal in the kitchen. Moose, my dog, just lay beside me, occasionally growling at the TV when they showed Marcus's face. They used the same damn picture I took of him and Hannah on the hood of his cruiser. Blurred her face, but I knew, she knew. Hell, everyone in our neighborhood knew by then. And Hannah, she was crumbling. She tried to spin it at first, claimed it was a mistake, that it only happened a couple of times. But I had the messages, the photos, the pattern. This wasn't a fling. It was a full-blown affair with a man who had a badge, a gun, and a god complex. I filed for divorce that same week. She cried. She begged. Claimed I was ruining her life. "You ruined it yourself," I told her. "I just turned on the lights so everyone could see the mess." She moved out 2 days later. I didn't stop her. I changed the locks and canceled her credit cards before the door even closed. Meanwhile, Marcus? He started spiraling. Turns out this wasn't his first rodeo. Once my complaint hit IA, 2 other women came forward. One had been scared to report him before. The other had tried, but her complaint mysteriously disappeared. Not anymore. By the end of the month, he was suspended without pay. A full investigation was launched into his conduct, use of his cruiser, and possible coercion. His badge, gone. His gun, surrendered. His reputation, torched. The department tried to stay quiet, but the internet doesn't forget. His name was all over local forums. Parents were asking why a guy like that was parked outside schools. Reporters started digging. And me? I didn't have to say a word. I just sat back and let it all burn. One of the best parts? Watching Hannah try to distance herself from him publicly, pretending she'd been manipulated, lied to, as if there weren't messages where she was asking him to bring the cuffs next time. She lost her job shortly after. Her firm didn't want the drama. Clients were backing out. Word gets around. All I had to do was let the truth breathe. No threats, no violence. Well, aside from that one fight, and even that worked in my favor. Just cold, undeniable truth served to the right people at the right time. You might be wondering, why the hell would I invite my cheating wife and the disgraced cop she was sleeping with to dinner? Simple. Because I wanted closure. Not the kind you find in therapy, the kind that slaps like cold steel and leaves a ringing silence behind it. I called it a reconciliation dinner. Told Hannah I wanted to talk, be civil, try to understand everything. She took the bait faster than I expected. She even asked if she could bring Marcus. I said, of course. She thought I was being mature. I thought I was being methodical. Now, to be clear, this wasn't just a petty setup. I didn't plan to scream or flip a table. I just wanted them both in the same room where they couldn't run, couldn't dodge, couldn't lie. No text messages, no hiding behind uniforms or tears. Just dinner. Me, her, him, one table, one truth. I chose a quiet steakhouse downtown, neutral ground, no chance of a public meltdown. I wore a navy button-up, clean shave, calm smile, looked like a man in control. When they arrived, she looked nervous. He looked tired, like the scandal was catching up to him, which it was. We sat, polite greetings. Hannah tried to make small talk. Asked how Moose was doing. I nodded. Marcus mostly kept his eyes down, like a kid waiting for detention to start. Then I pulled out a manila folder and placed it on the table. Hannah's face fell immediately. Inside, printed screenshots of their texts, time-stamped photos, GPS logs, internal affairs contact emails, a copy of the restraining order another woman had just filed against Marcus, a list of every address his cruiser had been logged at that wasn't on his assigned patrol route. I didn't say a word for 30 seconds. Just let the silence crawl over their skin. Then I leaned forward. You thought I didn't know, that I was blind, but I wasn't. I just waited until you couldn't run. Marcus spoke first. This isn't necessary. I cut him off. No, what wasn't necessary was you pulling me over after screwing my wife and handing me a ticket like I was just some idiot. What wasn't necessary was you coming into my home, my life, thinking I wouldn't notice. Hannah tried the tear thing again. Matt, I didn't know how to stop it. You could have started by saying no, I said. But you said yes, over and over. Then I smiled, and this is where it got good. I'm not here for revenge. You already gave me that. But I thought you both deserved to know. You're officially being sued. Civil suit. Emotional distress, defamation, invasion of privacy. Their faces turned ghost white. I have more than enough evidence. And the moment this goes public, Marcus, you'll never work in law enforcement again. And Hannah? You'll be lucky if your next job is at a call center. I stood up, dropped the check on the table. I'll let you two split the bill. And then I walked out, didn't look back. Filing the civil suit wasn't about money. It was about power, about shifting the weight of shame off my shoulders and putting it where it belonged, on theirs. I wanted the world to see what happened when two people thought they could destroy someone's life and walk away without consequences. And damn, did the courtroom deliver. My lawyer, an old college friend turned litigation pit bull, filed for emotional distress, defamation, and invasion of privacy. Florida laws were in my favor, especially considering Marcus's position of power and Hannah's role in helping him access our home under false pretenses. Marcus's department tried to separate themselves from the mess, but too much had already leaked. My viral post, the video of my arrest, screenshots of texts, their internal emails were subpoenaed, and guess what? They knew about the complaints. They just buried them. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a cheating scandal. It was about systemic failure and abuse of authority. Media outlets started sniffing around again, but nothing could have prepared me for who showed up to testify. Her name was Danielle, early 30s, confident, calm. The prosecution called her up during the third day of hearings. I didn't recognize her at first, but the moment she took the stand and looked straight at Marcus, I saw his whole posture collapse. She'd had a relationship with him too, but hers was worse. Danielle wasn't just another affair. She was a woman who had filed a formal complaint against Marcus 2 years earlier, said he used his badge to intimidate her into silence after she tried to break it off. He threatened to plant drugs on her ex, warned her not to embarrass him publicly. Her case went nowhere, until now. In front of the court, under oath, she laid out a pattern. The same tactics, the same seduction, the same intimidation when things soured. And when she said, I didn't think anyone would believe me until I saw his story online, and pointed to me, The courtroom shifted. Even the judge sat up straighter. My lawyer pounced, brought everything back to our case, showed how Marcus used his badge as leverage, how Hannah helped facilitate access to our home, our property, our life. The defense, flailing. Marcus looked like a ghost. Hannah wouldn't meet my eyes. Every time a new text or photo got introduced into evidence, I could see her shrinking into herself. That cool, polished persona, gone. They'd walked into that courtroom thinking I wanted an apology. What I wanted was accountability, and I was getting it. The courtroom was dead silent when the judge returned from recess. You could feel it, that electricity in the air, like just before a storm breaks. I wasn't even sure if I was breathing. Marcus sat stiff, his jaw clenched so tight you could see the muscle twitching. Hannah kept her eyes on the table, like if she avoided eye contact long enough, this would all disappear. Spoiler, it didn't. The judge took his seat, cleared his throat, and got right to the point. After reviewing all submitted evidence, including digital correspondence, sworn testimony, departmental records, and video surveillance, this court finds in favor of the plaintiff. Boom, just like that. I won. I didn't even react at first. I just sat there, staring forward, letting the words settle in. The weight of everything I'd carried, the betrayal, the rage, the helplessness, started peeling off, layer by layer. Then came the damages. The court awarded $185,000 in compensatory damages and another $50,000 in punitive damages, aimed directly at Marcus for abuse of authority. The judge had strong words for him too. You have dishonored your badge and violated the trust the public placed in you. You leveraged your position for personal gratification, and this court will not ignore that. But it didn't stop there. The ruling was public. Local news outlets were all over it. Headlines the next day read, "Disgraced deputy loses lawsuit after sleeping with married woman and arresting her husband. Court awards $235K in cheating scandal that rocked local PD. Marcus was officially blacklisted. No department would touch him after that. His law enforcement career? Over." As for Hannah, the ruling didn't strip her of money, but it did strip her of credibility and dignity. Every personal reference she'd built professionally was scorched. Her LinkedIn quietly disappeared. People she once called friends unfollowed her in waves. She messaged me later that week, some long meandering apology about things getting out of hand and not knowing how to make things right. I didn't respond, not out of bitterness, just nothing left to say. Instead, I used the settlement money to pay off debt, fix the house, and take the first real vacation I'd had in years, alone, and it was perfect. You'd think after everything, the courtroom win, the public fallout, the end of my marriage, I'd finally get some peace. But then, the internet found me. It started with a single post. I decided to share my story on Reddit, not the legal details, not the names, just the journey, raw, emotional from the very beginning, the arrest, the betrayal, the viral photos, the courtroom bombshells. I hit post on our surviving infidelity under a throwaway account and forgot about it. 6 hours later, I had 40K upvotes, 4 Reddit awards, and my inbox looked like a war zone. Dude, you're a legend. This is better than Netflix. Subscribing for updates, please don't ghost us. Tell me you punched the cop, please. People were sending virtual hugs, relationship advice, offers to turn it into a screenplay. A few even tried to guess who I was. They weren't far off, but I kept it vague enough to stay safe. The next day, BuzzFeed reached out, then a podcast host, then 2 YouTubers. Some guy even offered me $2,000 just to use the story for a dramatic reading on his TikTok. Wild. What hit hardest, though, were the DMs from people who had gone through the same thing. Not just cheating, but the gaslighting, the power imbalance, the feeling that nobody would believe them because their partner seemed too put together. Turns out a lot of people are walking around carrying quiet heartbreak, and some of them just needed to hear someone else had made it through. I became that guy, the revenge legend on Reddit, the one who fought back without turning into a monster. I didn't burn down a house or key a car, I just used the truth. Cold, calculated, documented. Reddit even gave my post a nickname, The Badge, The Bed, and The Breakdown. It became a meme for a while. People photoshopped my mugshot into movie posters. My favorite one? A fake HBO docuseries called Booked and Betrayed, a cop, a wife, and one hell of a lawsuit. I laughed for the first time in months. Because yeah, it was insane, but it was mine, and for once I wasn't the guy being humiliated. I was the guy who turned rock bottom into solid ground. It was a Thursday afternoon, a few weeks after my Reddit post went nuclear. I was finally getting used to the quiet again. No lawyers, no drama, no new leaks. Just me, Moose, and a bottle of whiskey I only open for special occasions or victories. And this felt like both. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I usually let those go to voicemail now, but something in my gut said pick up, so I did. Matt, you don't know me, but I know Hannah. His name was Derek. Voice calm, professional. Said he used to date Hannah in college. I almost hung up. Wait, this isn't about her, not really, he said quickly. It's about Marcus. Now he had my attention. Derek told me he was a software developer out in Seattle now, had been out of touch with Hannah for years. They reconnected briefly through mutual friends, and according to him, she told him everything. Bragged about taking down her ex like a boss. Tried to make me sound like some emotionally unstable loser who got lucky in court. He didn't buy it, but that wasn't the kicker. Apparently Marcus had done this before. Again, even after the trial. Derek said he had screenshots of texts between Marcus and a woman he was involved with while still tangled in court with me. Messages that implied he was trying to smear my name further online under fake Reddit accounts and burner profiles. I think he's trying to spin the narrative back in his favor, Derek said. I'm guessing he thought you were done. Spoiler, I wasn't. Derek offered to send me everything. Messages, screenshots, even an old hard drive that allegedly had photos of Hannah and Marcus dating before my arrest, meaning they were lying about the timeline in court. It could technically be perjury. I paused. Part of me wanted to say, screw it. I already won. Let it go. But the other part, the part that remembered sitting in the back of a cop car while my wife lied to my face, wanted to go full throttle again. I told Derek to send it all. Within the hour, I had 20 plus files in my inbox, and what I saw, let's just say, Marcus wasn't just corrupt, he was obsessed. Messages to multiple women trashing me, calling me a dangerous narcissist, trying to warn them that I was unhinged. He even referenced the dinner we had together, twisted the story to make it sound like I threatened him. This guy wasn't just pathetic, he was dangerous. And suddenly, I realized maybe it wasn't over. It showed up in my inbox at 2:14 a.m. on a Tuesday. Subject line, I don't expect forgiveness. It was from Hannah's old email, the same one she used back when we used to share Netflix passwords and grocery lists. I almost deleted it without opening it, but I didn't. I don't know why. Curiosity maybe, closure, or the sick part of my brain that still wondered if there was any piece of the woman I used to love buried somewhere in the wreckage. The message was short, barely a few paragraphs, no dramatic plea, no denial, just her. More raw than I'd ever seen. Here's part of what she wrote. I've read everything. The Reddit posts, the court transcripts, even some of the comments. I know what people think of me. I deserve it. I've earned every terrible word. I didn't expect it to go that far. The arrest, the fallout. I thought I was in control, but I wasn't. I don't think I've been in control of my life for years. Marcus wasn't who I thought he was. I see that now, and the worst part is, you tried to protect me from him, even when I didn't want you to. I'm in therapy. That's not a fix, I know, but it's a start. I wanted to tell you that. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope someday, when this doesn't hurt so much, you find someone who treats you like you deserve to be treated all along. She ended it with 2 words I didn't expect. Thank you. I sat there for a long time, not angry, not sad, just still. There was no reply to send, nothing I could write that would undo what she'd done. But strangely, I didn't need to. I didn't want vengeance anymore. I didn't want to humiliate her again. I had survived her. That was enough. So I archived the email, didn't delete it, didn't reread it, just moved it into the digital attic right next to the photos I no longer look at and the voicemails I haven't listened to since the night everything imploded. And with that, she was gone. For real this time. No more messages, no more games, no more Hannah. It's weird how quiet life becomes after chaos. There's this phantom noise you get used to, the constant tension, the dread when a notification pops up, the mental chess game of what now, and when it all finally stops, it's like your brain doesn't know what to do with the silence. For the first few weeks, I'd wake up thinking I missed something, like there should have been an emergency email, a knock at the door, a headline with my name in it, but there wasn't. Just birds, and coffee, and Moose snoring like an old man at the foot of the bed. I started sleeping through the night again, started laughing without second guessing it. I didn't realize how tightly I'd been gripping everything until I finally let go. Not just of Hannah, but the guilt. Because here's the truth no one tells you. When you're betrayed, you still feel responsible. Like maybe you could have seen it coming. Maybe if you were more attentive, less trusting, more suspicious, maybe then you wouldn't have ended up cuffed in your own driveway. But that's not love. That's paranoia. And I loved her the way I hoped someone would love me. Fully. I don't regret that. She wrecked it, not me. I picked up woodworking again, built myself a new coffee table, started going on weekend hikes, even joined a local trivia team. Like, we suck, but we drink well, so that evens out. I also wrote a lot more. Not for Reddit, not for attention, just for myself. I kept a journal where I wrote one line every day. I didn't let them break me, and some days, that was enough. I never dated again. Not seriously anyway. Not yet. I went on a few decent dates, met some kind people, had some honest conversations, but I'm still learning what peace sounds like. I'm not ready to give it up just yet. Sometimes people still message me about the story, asking for updates, or if I'd ever do an AMA, or if they can adapt it into a podcast. One guy said he named his dog after me. That one made me laugh for a full minute. But the truth is, the story ended when I let it. Not when Hannah disappeared. Not when Marcus got charged. Not even when the money hit my account. The real ending came when I looked at my reflection and didn't see a victim anymore. Just a man who got hit hard and stood back up. It took me a long time to write this, not because I didn't know what to say, but because hitting post would make it feel real, final, like closing a door I spent years standing in front of trying to decide whether to lock it or burn it down. But here we are. Title, I got cheated on, arrested, humiliated, and then I won. Update 1 year later. I started this journey by accident, just venting to the void after one of the worst nights of my life. I never expected strangers to read it. I definitely didn't expect it to go viral. But what I got here, it saved me. You guys believed me when no one else did. You helped me think clearly when I was spiraling. You made me laugh when everything around me felt like it was on fire. And somehow, in the process of laying it all bare, I started healing. So here's where I leave it. Hannah's gone. Still no word since that final email. Marcus? Officially convicted. No badge, no job, no power, just a man with a record and a long list of burned bridges. Me? I'm good, genuinely good. The house is quiet, the air feels lighter, and for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like I'm living in someone else's storm. Do I still think about it? Of course. Some scars don't fade, they just stop bleeding, but if you're reading this, maybe stuck in your own version of hell, let me say this clearly, you can survive it. You can lose everything and still come out cleaner on the other side. You can be shattered and still rebuild, and sometimes, the people who tried to bury you, they forget you were a seed. Thanks for walking with me through the dark. I'm logging out now, for good this time, but I'll leave the light on, for the next guy who needs it. Matt.